Be me, Aaron, 28. I work as a commercial lease auditor. If you don't know what that job is, consider yourself blessed. I sit in a cubicle all day. I read 400-page documents about strip mall zoning. I look for clauses about who pays for broken drywall. It is a job that slowly drains the color from your soul. Everyone in my office looks like they need a nap. The air smells like stale printer toner and burnt coffee. To cope with the absolute, mind-numbing boredom of my life, I cook. I don't mean I make a quick sandwich after work. I mean massive weekend projects. I simmer bone broth for 12 hours. I knead bread dough until my shoulders ache. Cooking is the only thing in my life that makes sense. If you put in the time and the right ingredients, you get something good at the end. It is the opposite of my job. Because I live alone and cook like I am feeding a camp, I always have too much food, so I bring the leftovers to work in big glass containers. This detail is the reason my life is currently completely out of control. Few desks down from me sits Camille. Camille is about 5'3". She wears massive, oversized knit sweaters. The sleeves always swallow her hands completely. She walks with this quiet, careful posture, like she is trying very hard not to disturb the air around her. She does not talk to anyone. She does not go to the break room for birthday cake. She shows up at 8 in the morning. She leaves at 5 on the dot. She is a ghost in a wool sweater. But the saddest thing in the world is her lunch. Every single day at exactly 12:15. She opens the same sad little plastic container. Inside is a scoop of plain white rice, one hard-boiled egg, and sometimes a handful of baby carrots. No sauce, no salt, no pepper, just absolute nutritional survival. Watching her eat it every day broke something in my brain. It felt like watching a Victorian orphan eat gruel. The inciting incident happened on a rainy Tuesday in late October. Our department was stuck working late. Some massive portfolio review was due the next morning. By 8:30 at night, the office was completely empty, except for me and Camille. The rain was hitting the windows hard. The building had turned off the main heating. It was freezing and miserable. I walked to the break room and microwaved my dinner. I had made beef bourguignon the night before, slow-braised chuck roast, cremini mushrooms and pearl onions, a thick red wine reduction sauce, served over a bed of heavy garlic mashed potatoes. The microwave beeped. I opened the door and the smell hit the air. It smelled like a warm kitchen in a house someone actually loved. I carried the glass bowl back to my desk. I heard a chair squeak. I looked over the top of my cubicle wall. Camille was standing there. She wasn't looking at my face. She was staring directly at my bowl of stew. She had the intense, unblinking focus of a hawk looking at a mouse. She slowly looked down at her own desk. She had a piece of dry toast and a string cheese. She looked back at my bowl. I sighed heavily. I knew what I had to do. I walked back to the break room and found a spare paper bowl. I split the stew right down the middle. I walked over to her desk and set it down next to her keyboard. "You should probably eat some of this," I said. "That toast is going to make you sad," I said. She didn't look up at me. She didn't say thank you. She picked up a plastic fork and just started eating. She ate like someone was going to steal it from her. 10 minutes later, I looked over and the bowl was completely spotless. She wiped her mouth with a napkin. She nodded at me once, packed her bag, and walked out into the rain. I thought that was the end of the story. A weird moment with a weird coworker. The next morning, I got to my desk and sat down. There was a crisp $20 bill sitting on my keyboard. Before I could even pick it up, Camille appeared out of nowhere. She was standing right next to my chair. "More," she said. I blinked at her. "More what?" I asked. "The stew," she said. She tapped the $20 bill with one finger. "I want the beef thing again," she said. I pushed the money back toward her. "Camille, I'm not selling you my lunch," I said. She pushed the money back toward me. "I'm paying for it. Don't make it weird, Aaron," she said. "It's already weird," I said. "Just take the money and bring the food," she whispered. She looked around like we were doing a drug deal. She walked quickly back to her desk. I stared at the Jackson on my keyboard for a long time. And that is exactly how the trap clamped shut on my leg. The next day, I brought an extra container of chicken tikka masala. She left another 20 on my desk. Within a week, it became a rigid, unbending routine. I cooked. I brought her a portion. She paid me. But the payment system slowly started to mutate. Instead of cash, she started bringing me random objects. She noticed I drank terrible instant coffee at my desk. The next day, a bag of incredibly expensive dark roast beans appeared. Then, it was a bottle of high-end olive oil. Then, a bunch of fresh basil wrapped in a damp paper towel. One Tuesday, she walked over and gathered up all my cheap ballpoint pens. She threw them directly into the trash can. "Hey, those are mine," I said. "Your old pens were gross," she said. "They scratched the paper and sounded awful," she said. She dropped the box of heavy Japanese gel pens on my desk. "Use these instead," she said. She turned and walked away before I could argue. A few days later, she started physically adjusting my workspace. I came back from the bathroom to find her moving my monitors. "What are you doing?" I asked. "Your screens were crooked," she said. "My neck hurts just looking at you." "Sit here," she said. She grabbed the lever on my chair and cranked it up 2 inches. "Sit down," she commanded. I sat down. She nodded in approval. "Much better," she muttered. She went back to her spreadsheets. She never asked if I wanted these things done. She just decided my life was a mess and started fixing it. The real point of no return happened 3 weeks later. We were standing by the printer waiting for a lease agreement to print. "I'm making lasagna tonight," I said offhand. She turned her head very slowly. "For dinner?" she asked. "Yeah," I said. "A big one. Ricotta, homemade sausage, the works," I said. She stared at the wall for a second. "You can't bring lasagna in a Tupperware, Aaron," she said. "Why not?" I asked. "It gets rubbery in the microwave." "It ruins the cheese," she said. "Well, that's what you're getting tomorrow," I said. She frowned deeply. "What is your address?" she asked. I laughed because I thought she was making a joke. She did not laugh. She just stared at me until the silence became physically heavy. "I live at the Ivy Apartments on 4th Street, I said defensively. She wrote it down on a post-it note. At 7:30 that exact evening, my doorbell rang. I opened the door. Camille was standing on my welcome mat in the pouring rain. She was holding a wet umbrella and wearing a massive yellow raincoat. "You're actually here?" I said. "You said dinner was at 8, she replied. She pushed past me and walked into my living room. She took off her boots and lined them up perfectly parallel to the wall. She took off her raincoat and hung it on the coat rack. She walked into my kitchen like a health inspector. She looked at my spice rack. She opened a drawer and looked at my spatulas. She closed the drawer and nodded. "Smells fine," she said. She sat down at my small dining table and folded her hands. "Okay," I said. "I guess we're doing this," I said. I served the lasagna. We sat across from each other and ate in complete agonizing silence. I could hear the clock ticking on the wall. I could hear the cars driving by outside. But then she took her third bite. I watched her shoulders physically drop about 2 inches. She closed her eyes and let out a very long breath. It was the first time I had ever seen her look entirely relaxed. She looked like a stray cat that finally realized it was indoors. We finished eating. I stood up to grab the plates. "Sit down," she said. She took the plates. She walked to the sink and washed every single dish. She scrubbed the baking pan until it shined. She dried her hands on a towel. Then she walked into my living room and sat heavily on my couch. She grabbed the remote and turned on a documentary about squids. 10 minutes later, she was completely unconscious. Her mouth was slightly open. She was snoring very quietly. I didn't know what to do. I felt like I had accidentally trapped a wild animal in my house. I found a fleece blanket in the closet and carefully draped it over her. I sat in the armchair and watched the rest of the squid documentary. At exactly 10:15, her eyes snapped open. She sat up quickly and looked around in a panic. Then she saw me sitting in the chair. She relaxed slightly. She stood up and folded the blanket with terrifying precision. She put on her boots. She put on her yellow raincoat. "The sauce needed a little more fennel," she said. Then she walked out the door. I stood in the empty apartment for a long time, just staring at the wall. After that night, the dam completely broke. She started showing up at my apartment 2 or 3 nights a week. She never texted beforehand. She never asked if I had plans. She just appeared at my door around 7 p.m. Sometimes she brought groceries. One night, she showed up carrying a massive cast-iron skillet. It must have weighed 30 pounds. She slammed it down on my counter. "Your old pan was warped," she said. "It wasn't cooking the chicken evenly." "Throw it away," she said. She started leaving tiny pieces of her life scattered around my apartment. First, it was a spare hair tie on the bathroom sink. Then it was a specific mug she claimed as hers. Then she left a gray zip-up hoodie draped over the back of a kitchen chair. "It's cold in here," she said when I asked about it. "Leave it there so I don't have to carry it back and forth," she said. The situation started bleeding into our actual workplace, and that is when things got incredibly complicated. Enter Ethan from the regional marketing team. Ethan is 35 going on frat boy. He wears too much cologne and talks incredibly loud on phone calls. He thinks confidence is an acceptable substitute for a personality. One afternoon, I was walking back from the break room. I saw Ethan cornering Camille near the water cooler. She looked completely trapped. She was holding her empty coffee mug to her chest like a shield. "Come on, Camille," Ethan was saying loudly. "Let me take you out on Friday. Grab some drinks," he said. "I do not want to go get drinks," Camille said softly. "You just need to loosen up." Ethan laughed. "I know a great spot downtown," he said. Camille looked around in a panic. She saw me holding a stack of files. She pointed a finger directly at my face. "I can't go anywhere with you," she told Ethan. "Why not?" he asked. "Because Aaron cooks for me," she said. Her voice was suddenly very loud and very defensive. "He makes my dinners. I am completely booked," she said. The entire grouping of cubicles went dead silent. 4 different heads popped up over the gray dividers. Ethan turned and stared at me. He looked at me like I had just kicked his dog. "You two are together?" Ethan asked. He looked me up and down with obvious disgust. "No," I started to say. "Yes," Camille said at the exact same time. She speed-walked away from the water cooler and hid at her desk. The rumors spread through the office faster than a norovirus. By Thursday, everyone was completely convinced we were secretly married. I dragged Camille into the empty supply closet. "Why did you tell Ethan that?" I hissed at her. She was organizing a box of paper clips on the shelf. "He smelled like awful body spray, and he was too close to me," she said. "But now the whole floor thinks we're dating Aaron," she said. She shrugged. "I don't care what David from accounting thinks," she said. "David thinks we're registered at Crate and Barrel," I said. She paused. "Are we?" she asked. "No, Camille, we are not registered anywhere," I said. She frowned. "You're yelling at me in a closet, Aaron. This is highly irregular," she said. "I'm yelling because my life is turning into a sitcom," I said. She sighed and looked at her shoes. "I don't know how to interact with people," she muttered. Her voice sounded very small suddenly. I immediately felt terrible for yelling. "What do you mean?" I asked, gently. She leaned against the wall, full of printer paper. "My family was weird, Aaron," she said. "Everything was scheduled. Everything had a rule," she said. "Nobody just did nice things for no reason," she said. "So when you gave me that bowl of stew," she said. She looked up at me. "I didn't know what box to put that in," she said. "So what box did you put it in?" I asked. She chewed on her bottom lip. "I just categorized it as mine," she whispered. I didn't know what to say to that, so I just nodded, and we walked back to our desks in silence. 2 days later, the absolute worst thing happened. I got an email from Angela in HR. The subject line was simply, "Mandatory meeting, 2 p.m. Angela is a woman who wears too many cardigans and sighs a lot. I walked into her office. She looked exhausted. She slid a single piece of paper across her desk. "Aaron," she said, rubbing her temples. "We need to talk about the workplace relationship policy," she said. My stomach dropped into my shoes. "Angela, I swear to God I am not dating Camille," I said. Angela looked at me over her glasses. "Ethan filed a formal complaint," she said. "He said you created a hostile environment by claiming another employee as a domestic partner," she said. "Ethan is an idiot who wears boat shoes in December," I said. "That may be true, Aaron," Angela sighed. "But the rumors are distracting the zoning department," she said. "We just share food, Angela. I cook too much." "She eats it," I said. Angela just stared at me. She tapped the piece of paper. "Just sign the conflict of interest waiver, Aaron," she said. "It covers the company if you two have a messy breakup," she said. "We aren't together to break up," I protested. "Just sign the paper, Aaron," she said. I signed the paper because arguing with HR is like arguing with a brick wall. I walked out of her office feeling completely defeated. Camille was waiting for me by the elevators. She looked slightly nervous. "Did you get fired?" she asked. "No, Camille. I didn't get fired," I groaned. "Good," she said, "because I bought thick-cut pork chops, and we need to brine them tonight," she said. She handed me a heavy plastic grocery bag and walked onto the elevator. The domestic bleed-over continued to get worse. The following Saturday, my apartment complex landlord, Mr. Carver, caught me. Mr. Carver caught me. Carver is a guy who cares way too much about parking rules. I was carrying my trash to the dumpster. "Hey, Aaron," he yelled from his golf cart. He drove over and parked aggressively close to me. "Who owns the blue Subaru that's in the guest spot every other night?" he asked. I froze. Camille drove a beat-up blue Subaru Outback. "Oh, that's just my friend," I said. "She visits sometimes," I said. Carver squinted at me. "She's visiting a lot, Aaron. The guest spot is for temporary guests," he said. "If she's living with you, she needs to be on the lease," he said. "She doesn't live with me, Mr. Carver," I said. "Then why is her car here until midnight all the time?" he asked. "Because she falls asleep on my couch watching nature shows," I said. I realized instantly how incredibly pathetic and weird that sounded. Carver stared at me with profound pity. "Look, man," he said. I gotta charge you $50 a month for a permanent parking pass, he said. Otherwise, I have to tow the Subaru, he said. I paid the $50. I didn't tell Camille about it. But 3 days later, she saw the plastic parking tag hanging from her rearview mirror. She walked into my apartment and threw a crumpled wad of cash at my chest. What is this? I asked. Parking money, she said. I'm not letting you subsidize my vehicle, she said. Aaron, it was $50, she said. Count the money, Aaron, she said. I unrolled the wad. It was exactly $50 in incredibly worn $5 bills. Did you rob a lemonade stand? I asked. Shut up and chop the garlic, she said. She walked into the kitchen and put on an apron she had bought and left here. The real test of my sanity happened the next month. My younger sister Anna called me on a Thursday afternoon. Hey Aaron, she chirped. Matthew and I are driving through the city on our way to the coast, she said. We're gonna crash at your place tonight, she said. I panicked instantly. Tonight? Anna, you can't just drop by tonight, I said. Why not? She asked. Do you have a girl over? She laughed like it was the funniest joke in the world. No, The apartment is a mess, I said. We'll be there in an hour by. She hung up. I ran around the apartment throwing things into closets. I realized with absolute horror how much of Camille's stuff was everywhere. Her gray hoodie was on the chair. Her specific fuzzy socks were on the coffee table. Her expensive shampoo was in my shower. I grabbed the shampoo and shoved it under the sink. The doorbell rang. I opened it, and Anna hugged me. Matthew shook my hand and carried their bags inside. Place looks good, Aaron, Matthew said. We sat on the couch. We were talking about their trip for maybe 10 minutes. Then I heard the sound of a key turning in my front door. My blood turned entirely to ice. I forgot I gave Camille a spare key last week because she locked herself out in the rain. The door swung open. Camille walked in. She was wearing sweatpants and an oversized t-shirt. She was carrying a plastic grocery bag. She kicked her shoes off without looking up. I bought the good Parmesan, she announced to the hallway. The guy at the deli tried to give me the cheap stuff, but I yelled at him, she said. She walked into the living room. She froze. Anna stared at Camille. Matthew stared at Camille. Camille stared at Anna and Matthew. The silence stretched so long it became physically painful. Camille slowly lowered the bag of cheese to the floor. Who are these people, Aaron? She asked. Her voice was completely flat, but her eyes were terrified. Anna stood up slowly. I'm his sister, Anna said. She looked from Camille to me and then back to Camille. Anna smiled a massive predatory smile. Aaron didn't tell us he had a girlfriend, she said. I'm not his girlfriend, Camille said immediately. Oh? Anna asked. Then why do you have a key to his apartment? Anna asked. Camille looked at me for help. I rubbed my face with both hands. Anna, this is Camille. We work together, I said. Matthew snorted from the couch. You work together, and she walks into your house in sweatpants with fancy cheese? He asked. Yes, Camille said defensively. Aaron cooks the food. I bring the ingredients. It is a fair trade, she said. Anna crossed her arms. So you guys just trade food? Anna asked. And I wash the dishes, Camille added, like this proved her innocence. The entire dinner that night was a waking nightmare. I made spaghetti carbonara. We sat around the small table. Anna interrogated Camille relentlessly. So, how long have you two been doing this? Anna asked. Doing what? Camille replied. She was aggressively twirling pasta onto her fork. Playing house, Anna smirked. Camille dropped her fork. It clattered loudly against the ceramic plate. We are not playing house, Camille said. Her face was getting very red. Aaron was lonely. I was eating sad toast, she said. We formed an arrangement to improve both our lives, she said. It's highly practical, she said. Matthew choked on his wine. Anna just smiled softer this time. Okay, Camille, Anna said gently. Whatever you say, she added. After dinner, Camille washed the dishes like she was trying to scrub the pattern off the plates. She didn't say a word. When she finished, she dried her hands. I am going home now, she announced to the room. It was adequate meeting you, Anna and Matthew, she said. She walked out and slammed the door behind her. Anna immediately turned to me. You are going to marry that girl, Aaron, she said. Anna, please shut up, I said. I'm entirely serious. Anna laughed. She looked ready to stab me with a fork when I teased you, she said. She is intensely weird, but she clearly worships you, she said. She just likes the food, Anna, I said. Yeah, okay, Aaron. Keep telling yourself that, Anna said. The week after the sister incident, we had the office potluck. This is the event that solidified my fate forever. It was a Friday before a long weekend. They set up long folding tables in the main conference room. Everyone brought something terrible. Angela brought a store-bought potato salad. Ethan brought a bag of tortilla chips and jarred salsa. I spent 14 hours smoking a massive pork shoulder. I shredded it by hand and made a homemade mustard vinegar barbecue sauce. I brought it in a huge slow cooker to keep it warm. I set it on the table, and within 30 seconds a line formed. The smell of smoked meat was overpowering the stale office air. David from accounting was first in line. David is a large man who breathes heavily when he eats. He grabbed a pair of tongs and reached for the center cut of the pork, the darkest, crustiest, best piece of the bark. Suddenly, a small hand shot out and grabbed David's wrist. It was Camille. She had appeared out of thin air. "You cannot take that piece," she said quietly. David looked down at her in confusion. "Excuse me," he said. "Those portions are reserved," she said. She didn't let go of his wrist. "Reserved for who?" David asked, looking around. "For me," Camille stated. "It's a potluck, David." David laughed nervously. "Everything is for everyone," he said. "No," Camille said. Her grip visibly tightened on his arm. "Aaron made this. He smoked it for 14 hours, she said. "You are going to put terrible yellow mustard on it and ruin it," she said. "You take the edge pieces. The center is mine," she declared. The entire line of coworkers was staring at them. I had to run over from the drink station. I grabbed Camille by the shoulders and physically pulled her back. Camille let go of David. I hissed. She let go but glared at him. "He doesn't respect the mailered reaction, Aaron," she whispered furiously. I apologized to David profusely. I dragged Camille out into the hallway. "What is wrong with you?" I asked. "You can't fight an accountant over pulled pork," I said. She crossed her arms tightly across her massive sweater. "He didn't earn it," she muttered stubbornly. "Nobody earns it, Camille. It's free food," I said. She looked at the floor. "I just wanted the good piece," she said softly. She sounded so genuinely sad. I completely lost my anger. I sighed. "I saved the Tupperware of the bark in the office fridge for you," I said. Her head snapped up. Her eyes went completely wide. "You did?" she said. "Yes, Camille. Go get it before Ethan finds it," I said. She practically sprinted down the hallway toward the break room. I stood there leaning against the wall, and the terrifying realization hit me like a freight train. Despite all the absolute chaos, despite the HR meetings and the landlord threats, despite my sister mocking me, I actually really liked this. My life used to be so incredibly quiet and empty. I used to come home to a dark apartment, cook a huge meal in silence, eat it while watching YouTube videos alone, pack the leftovers in silence, go to sleep in silence. Now my life is completely loud and messy. 3 nights a week, a weird girl shows up at my door. She critiques my salt ratios. She leaves her shoes in my hallway. She steals my blankets and falls asleep on my couch. She gets into arguments with deli clerks to defend my honor. Last week I got the flu really bad. I called out of work for 3 days straight. I was running a fever and shivering in bed. At 2 in the afternoon, I heard my front door unlock. Camille walked into my bedroom wearing a surgical mask. She looked absolutely terrified. She threw a massive plastic bag from a local pharmacy onto my bed. It was entirely filled with cold medicine. Dayquil, NyQuil, cough, drops vitamin C. She also brought 4 cans of the cheapest, lowest quality chicken noodle soup and a brand new electric kettle still in the box. "Camille, what are you doing here?" I croaked. "You weren't at work," she said from the doorway. She refused to step further into the room. "I'm sick," I said. "I know," she said. I asked Angela. "She said you were dying," she said. Angela is dramatic. "It's just a flu," I said. She pointed at the bag. "Eat the soup, Aaron. It's probably terrible, but I didn't know what else to buy," she said. "Thank you, Camille," I said. I genuinely meant it. She shifted her weight from foot to foot. "Don't die," she said awkwardly. "Who will make the lasagna?" she added. She practically ran out of the apartment. But she came back that night and made me tea. She burned the tea somehow. I drank it anyway, and it tasted amazing. Which brings us to right now. It is currently Friday evening. I am sitting at my desk typing this out while waiting for a zoning file to load. Tomorrow is Saturday. Camille is arriving at exactly 10 in the morning. She bought a $300 enameled French-Dutch oven. She had it shipped directly to my apartment. My name was on the shipping label, but her credit card paid for it. Apparently, I am teaching her how to braise lamb shanks tomorrow. She sent me an itinerary for the cooking process. She blocked out time for grocery shopping. She blocked out time for meat prep. She blocked out 2 hours for documentary viewing while it simmers. We have still never been on a single official date. I have never kissed her. I have never even held her hand, but half of her winter wardrobe is currently hanging in my closet. Her specific brand of toothpaste is sitting next to mine on the sink. She has aggressively defended my cooking from 3 different coworkers. And my sister is already planning what dress to wear to a wedding that doesn't exist. I think I somehow completely bypassed the entire concept of dating. I skipped the awkward Tinder messages. I skipped the expensive dinners where you pretend to be cool. I skipped the anxiety of wondering if someone likes you. And I tripped headfirst into a 40-year marriage with the quietest girl in the compliance department. The funniest part is, I don't even want to escape. I look at my phone. I have a text message from her. I bought fresh rosemary. Do not buy any. See you at 10. I smile at the screen like an absolute idiot. I pack up my laptop. I grab my bag. I walk out of the quiet gray office building into the rain. I drive home thinking about lamb shanks. I walk into my apartment. It is quiet, but it doesn't feel empty anymore.